Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fantastic ribbon cutting for Central Square and for Bertulli Park. Today, as we all know, is an incredible celebration of years of hard work and great collaboration across many, many partners. As folks may recall, we were actually here a couple of months ago for a different announcement. We were here on this spot for the mayor to announce his 5-year, $2 billion capital plan. And we had chose this location because in many ways this spot and what we're celebrating today is incredibly emblematic of the great work that the mayor's administration is doing. Work around improving transportation, around building great parks, around implementing green infrastructure, around supporting small businesses, and doing all of those things in collaboration and in concert with the community. That is the work that we are hard at work on within City Hall. There's the sort of themes that we are focused on as part of Imagine Boston 2030, the mayor's long-term vision for the city of Boston. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce as the first speaker of this event, the person who's really setting that vision and who is leading our work every single day, and that's the mayor of the city of Boston, Mayor Martin J. Walsh.
Thank you very much, Chris, and I want to thank Chris for his work on this project. Chris wasn't in his role when this project started, and he took over the role of Chief of Streets in the city of Boston and has done an incredible job, so I want to thank him for his work. There's a bunch of people behind me. They're not all going to speak, but a lot of them are there for a reason, because this project was a very complicated project in the sense of all different city agencies. So I just want to thank Commissioner Chris Cook from the Parks Department. I want to thank Henry Vitale from Water and Sewer. I want to thank the Public Works construction team. I want to thank we have Public Works, who else say, Transportation, Gina Vandacker from Transportation. I want to thank McCourt Construction. I want to thank East Boston Main Streets. I want to thank all the folks that were here today, a lot of the folks, and I'll get to them in a minute, that are here today that made this project move forward. I also want to thank the elected officials, City Councilor Anissa Rasabi George, who's here with us today. I want to thank Councilor George. There were some votes in the City Council that she was able to take after the project got moving to increase more money to this project. I also want to thank State Representative Adrienne Martero, who worked with us on the state side to make sure that we have funding, and then Sala Martini, our district city councilor, who was from this project all the way from the very beginning, making sure that this project happened and making sure that the correct money was there. We're going to hear from the councilors in a second. This is, I think it's a proud day for East Boston, because I hear about it a lot when people say to me, when's it going to be done, when's it going to be done, when's it going to be done? Central Square has brought the people of this community together for decades, and talking to Gina earlier, that when you tried to cross the street, you took your life in your hands, and it was kind of like a game of dodgeball, except you were the cars with the balls, and that wasn't a fun thing. But having this here today is important, because the people of the community have been working on this for decades. This is a landmark. This is full of history, and now it's gotten the upgrade that people of East Boston deserve. Right off the bat, the people of East Boston are going to see the results. Pedestrians and cyclists are going to be safer, while at the same traffic will flow more efficiently. And I know that it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to it, but we're asking people to be patient, because it's better. It will work. This process will work here. Foot traffic certainly can be easier for people to get to the local businesses. And we had, about 8 months ago, we had a grand opening of Wingstop. And when Wingstop opened their doors, they had all kinds of construction in front of them. And we're seeing great businesses come here, so we want to make sure that we help them. We also have Bertulli Park has been renovated, the promenade with amenities for people of all ages and all abilities. So this is a fully accessible park that allows people to be able to come here. We have new bike racks. We have planted nearly 100 trees, which is important for us in the city, and we're going to water those trees to make sure they don't die. I think that's Chris Cook's team's job, so we want to make sure we don't want those trees to die. These are all also measures that will benefit the neighborhood today, but this project even goes further than that. The redesign project means long-term benefits for things like community health, climate resiliency, and local businesses to work with them. It was guided by the people who know East Boston the best, the residents, and that's one thing about this project. The residents have had a say in this all the way along, so I think that's important. Our youth had a say in this, and especially the East Boston's business community, along with our youth and our advocates. I want to thank Walk Boston and the Public Health Commission for their work together with our design team on this. That's an important aspect of this. They talked about, to the community members, raise their awareness about safe walking and healthy living. They helped us make sure that we looked at pedestrian safety and made sure that that was the center of this process, and I think people feel good about that. I also want to thank the Charles River Watershed Association and the youth from NOAA for your activity and your participation in this. I know a lot of the youth are probably in school today, but it's important for us to make sure they understand and get acknowledged. They work with the water and sewer to study how Central Square could have green infrastructure. Based on their input, Boston Water and Sewer took measures that will make this area more resilient to storms, flooding, and climate change. And certainly we're seeing what's happening now in Florida. In many of those areas of Florida that you're seeing are local neighborhoods that are being flooded out and the problems come in. So we're constantly looking at that. This isn't going to be the answer to all that, but this is the beginning process of that. This is also a reminder for our goal of safety and access and resilient, and should work hand in hand, that all these things that we talked about in this project should be able to come together. It's proof that our communities are strongest when they bring voices to the table. Again, I want to thank everyone who made this a reality. Central Square has always been a monument to East Boston's history and character. Now it also represents East Boston's future. To all the residents of East Boston who helped guide through this process, I want to say thank you. To the people that were watching this going and that were frustrated because of the progress, I want to say thank you for your patience during the construction, and congratulations on your new Central Square. And now I'm going to ask City Councilor Sal Martin to come up and say a few words, and then after Sal, State Representative Adrian Madero will come up and say a few words, and then we'll go back to Chief Osgood.
Where do I start? Just want to say, wow, this is amazing, amazing. So 30 years ago, believe it or not, I've been working in government, and the first transportation project I worked on was Day Square. And for those who've been here for a long time, East Bostonians, that was a battle when we first did that. But this right here, this project right here, the community worked together. And I remember that first meeting, and I said, listen, we're going to design something that's going to be in East Boston for 100 years. This is going to be part of East Boston history. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank the mayor to making sure that this stayed as a priority for him. Sometimes you come here, you could put all those capital projects behind, but he made sure when he made his commitment to East Boston that he's going to be here and make sure these projects stay on time. And Mayor, thank you for the extra money that we had to spend on this project. So with that, I am so thankful to be able to be here today at this opening with you, because this is history in the making for East Boston. And like I always said before, and I'll say it again, the best is yet to come. So thank you all for being here.
So it was about 5 or 6 years ago when I was still working for Representative Basil that I think we had our very first meeting right here at the social centers across the street about this project. And at that time we had seen some preliminary plans for it, and it really was going to represent a transformation for this area, an area that is so important for the local economy here in East Boston. As you look around, it clearly is one of our central business districts here in the neighborhood. And after 6 years and nearly $20 million, here we are. Mayor, Councilor Salvi George, and LaMartina, thank you so much for advocating for this at City Hall. I think this has been absolutely transformational for East Boston. And as we stand here today, I think it's hard to really wrap our brains around it, just how much work went in, because we just see a beautiful, transformation. But all the water and sewer pipes had to be redone. The traffic plan was totally re-engineered to make it safer for vehicles and, more importantly, for pedestrians. Crosswalks were shortened, and obviously the park was enlarged and beautified. And this really will be a lasting legacy for Mayor Walsh and for our community. Again, thank you for this investment. I think it was just last weekend we were cutting the ribbon on Cuneo Park in Orient Heights, and I feel like every other week we're cutting the ribbon of some park that the mayor has redone, and it is clear that he has invested in our parks and in this community, whether it's Parish Street Community Center or any of the other wonderful amenities that we've enjoyed here in East Boston. I thank the Walsh administration for their commitment to our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative. As the Representative mentioned, there are many, many parts to this project. This project is a transportation project. We have made the streets around this square easier and safer for everybody. And that's a great credit to Vineet Gupta and Charlotte Fleetwood and Carrie Pike and her team at Howard Stein Hudson for all of their hard work in getting the plan and the design just right. This project is also a water and sewer project. We are putting in place green infrastructure here that's going to help us deal with stormwater runoff and be a model for the sort of infrastructure we can put into other places across the city. That's credit to Henry Vitale, who leads the Boston Water and Sewer Commission, Charlie Jewell, and Kate England, neither of whom I see, but they're both here. This project is also a fantastic parks project. We have expanded the amount of green space. As the mayor said, we have added trees. We have better found a way to honor the veteran and veterans who are memorialized here. And that's a great credit to the Parks Department, the leadership of Chief Austin Blackman, Commissioner Cook, and Kathy Baker Eclipse, who's been doing the day-to-day work on this for the Parks Department, so credit to them. And this project is also a public works project. We have moved earth and we have moved rock to create this square and this park. And that's a great credit to Katie Cho, who leads our construction management division, John Vazella, who has been the day-to-day project manager for this, and the team at McCourt, led by Joe Scalaro. Lots of credit to them for all of their hard work, and none of this would have been possible if all of those pieces didn't fit together. So it's a real credit to the team that together they're able to create something this beautiful. So it is my pleasure to be able to introduce two of the people who are the true champions of this project, true leaders of this project, and who are great colleagues for me. First, our Transportation Commissioner, Gina Fiandaca, to be followed by our Parks Commissioner, Chris Cook.
Well, it certainly is an honor and a thrill to be here today to celebrate the ribbon cutting of this newly designed Central Square Park. Today's ribbon cutting really brings us a step closer to meeting the transportation and the safety and mobility goals that are laid out by Mayor Walsh in Go Boston 2030, Boston's comprehensive transportation plan for the future. And as Transportation Commissioner, I am so pleased that the streets surrounding this park are so much safer for all of our users. Shorter crosswalks make it easier for pedestrians to get across back and forth from the social center and from the surrounding businesses. We'd like to thank our colleagues at the Boston Public Health Commission for their work, and Walk Boston and Mark Fenton, host of the new PBS series, America's Walking, for his consultation with us on this important project. For our seniors who rely on the MBTA, we've made Central Square buses more accessible. We've enhanced the navigation path and your layouts to safe and effective bus stops so that you can see wayfinding here where our buses are stopping, safer for everyone. And define travel lanes through the square and make it safer for our motorists. We've created 20 new bicycle racks in this park. So if all mobility users, this is truly transformative. And as Councilor LaMattina and Rep. Matero have already outlined, you know, this is really a nexus for the community. And for me, growing up in this community, this park is really near and dear to me. I've watched the transformation. My dad worked at the courthouse for many years, not far from here, and my brother at the police station. My sister worked at East Boston Savings Bank, and my brother worked at Liberty Markets. And my first job was at McDonald's. So I've seen, yes, my diet's changed, but I've seen the transformation firsthand. And I've seen the transformation throughout this community, through the mayor's commitment, through his capital plan, and through all of the great work that this community does with us each and every day. So it gives me great privilege, great honor and a privilege to be here to share this with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As the Commissioner of Boston Parks, it's great to be in East Boston because it demonstrates not only the mayor's commitment to East Boston, but also the community's commitment to great open spaces. Now, whether or not we're over at Paris Street or La Presti or Cuneo or today here in Central Square, what you see is the manifestation of when communities and city departments work together. There are no silos here. There's multiple city departments and no one's pointing the finger. We're all holding hands today. And this is what can actually happen when we work together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a direct result of your advocacy and a mayor who cares deeply about open spaces in our city, and we're very, very grateful for that. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Howard Stein Hudson & Associates But because I'm the parks guy, I have to thank the landscape architects, Knopfler Martin. If you could give them a round of applause, because it's the landscape architects who make this beauty that we all enjoy, and we're very grateful for that. And I also want to thank our very own Kathy Baker Eclipse, who has transformed many, many projects in the city of Boston and open spaces. So Kathy, thank you very much for all the hard work that you do. And just two very quick more shout outs is that this park is meaningful beyond just the fact that it's sacred space and it's named after a veteran, Bertolli, and that we celebrate that honor and that highest honor that they've given us by serving. But also, in addition to that, it's showing the responsibility we have to the environment by making sure that we manage stormwater, by making sure that we're healthy stewards for the next generation of East Bostonians. And that's because of the partnership with Water and Sewer, but also because of the good kids at NOAA. Those kids who are literally this past summer riding around on a bicycle watering our street trees. If we could give them a round of applause. And on behalf of the Boston Parks Department, we're very grateful to Mayor Martin J. Walsh and, of course, the community of East Boston.
So as Chris well said, this would not be possible without the incredible collaboration with all of you. The incredible collaboration with the community from NOAA to the Charles River Watershed to Walk Boston to the East Boston Social Centers. I wanted to invite, though, to the microphone a person who's been a fantastic partner for us, who leads the East Boston Main Streets, and who really represents all the small businesses who have been critical partners for us and who have had to sort of endure the construction project that's existed for the last 2 years, and we're glad to be able to provide this to all of you. And so I want to introduce Max Gruner, the Executive Director of the East Boston Main Streets.
What a beautiful day. Thank you all for coming. What a gorgeous, gorgeous park. Just unbelievable, right? 2 years of construction, traffic challenges, some issues around parking maybe. And today we are here and we're looking at this and it's absolutely gorgeous. I want to thank everybody who's standing here behind me, and a very special thank you and moment of appreciation to Mayor Walsh and his vision for this park. And a heartfelt thank you to Councilor Martina, Councilor George, and our representative Adrian Madero, who have worked and continue to work tirelessly for the East Boston community, and we see it every day. You know, I'm kind of outward facing, right? So I work with the community, I work with the businesses, I work with the residents, and my work wouldn't be possible without partners who are available, partners who are knowledgeable, partners who are pleasant and kind, partners who answer an email and pick up the phone. And so I want to give a very special shout out to Charlotte Fleetwood and her silly hat. She's standing behind that pole right there. Charlotte, you have been a fantastic partner through all of the community process, all of the community meetings. Thank you so much for answering the numerous questions, for being patient, and for repeating yourself so many times when I looked at you blankly and said, I still don't get it. You know, working in East Boston, sometimes I feel like every time I blink my eyes, a new construction project is popping up. I drive down a road that I could drive through, and the following day I can't because it's closed because there's construction. So I work with developers quite a bit, and I work with the people on the ground. And I want to, if I had a hat, I would tip my hat to John Bosella right there. John was the senior project manager for this project, and this project had up and downs like every project does. We had challenges, we had questions, we had great ideas. John was always there. John is always there. He runs a fantastic community meeting. He is respectful, he is knowledgeable, and he is very, very professional in the way he interfaces with the public. So John, thank you so much. And I'm just going to close with one observation. You know, in the fistful of years I've had the great pleasure of working with Mayor Walsh, I have learned one thing. And that thing is that a city's budget, A city's allocation of capital projects is not only a representation of a city's priorities, but it's a true expression of an administration's values. And I truly believe that this mayor loves our neighborhoods. He understands our neighborhoods, and he understands that investing in our neighborhoods is an integral part of making the life of all who live, work, and recreate in our neighborhoods a reality. So Mayor, thank you so much for your ongoing support of East Boston, and thank you for all the work you do throughout the city of Boston.
So the only thing we have left to do, Max, after those kind words, okay,
no, the ribbon.
is to cut the ribbon. So I'll invite the folks behind me to come in front of the memorial, and we will open up the park.